And didn't he make you a host?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. We're set.
All right. So good morning, everybody. This is Lawrence Kazan Cassini in Florida and Dan Burke in Pennsylvania. And it's Friday, and we're very happy to be on the call today with you. As usual, the first little words are things that must be indelibly branded in our brain, and that is the slaughterhouse of failure is not in my destiny. I will persist until I succeed. The other thing I thought I'd just mention, it's the end of the month, and Nourish the Children is a worthwhile cause where we can always add a little bag of Vitameal, which is only $26 or something, to feed a kid for a month. And it doesn't really cost us much. We don't even notice it. But at the end of each month, we might just consider asking everybody in our team if they want to contribute a Vitameal, and it helps the kids, and it also is something that is a feel good, and I think we should consider that as well. The other one thing I just wanted to mention is as they're for the guys, because the girls, they're pretty switched on generally, with apologies to the guys we're not so switched on for Valentine's Day. For me, every time we get to Valentine's and Christmas and birthdays and stuff like that, I start sweating because I don't know what to give anybody for their presents. For Valentine, we have, we're fortunate that Nu Skin's got such a wide array of products. I mean, I think over 300 products. So it's a thing for us guys to kind of relax about, and a solution. It's all to do with mindset, where the mindset, gets us going, and at least it's something that we can think about, where we've got in Nu Skin, we've got a lot of different selection, we've got to have a selection of a lot of products to give anybody that we would like to give. So today we're going to talk about the mindset of network marketing, multi-level marketing, all of these things, which are sometimes we think it's an uncomfortable subject. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Dan?
Yeah, there's a number of different things. I was in medical device sales for 25 years, and that was a completely different beast. I thought I'd be able to jump into multi-level marketing and use those same concepts and have the same success that I had in the business world in medical device sales, and it couldn't have been further from the truth. It was a completely different animal. There was a lot of things that I needed to learn. A lot of people that I needed to look towards, Michael Cook and Lawrence Kazan Cassini, Scott Bennett, Dr. Moore, for what they've done to be successful, because ultimately this is a business where it just needs to be reproducible, right? We're just doing what those have done before us, with our little tweak on it for our personality and our style of how we do business to make it be successful for us. So along with that, one of the things that I needed to change in my mindset was my ability to be coachable. I was used to doing my own thing, working as an individual, being in total control of everything that I did as a business person in medical device sales, and finally having to not only rely just on myself, but listen to folks who have been successful in this business and had been in this business for quite some time. So I needed to change my mindset about how I was going to do this business. And for me, and for most of you, that's just about being coachable and who you're going to look up to. You need to find some folks on your team. Hopefully you have some good team members that are able to coach you in a relatable fashion. And I had a call with a person on my team this week, and we were talking a little bit about what she was doing for recruiting on LinkedIn. And we talked about that for a little bit. And, I said that, well, that's great. I think that works. It works for some people. It may not work for everybody. This is what I do. maybe you can come up with a system for yourself that might be a conglomeration of these two things, or your own personal thing. And so, she started that, and a day later she shot me a text and she said, "Hey, thank you very much for that call the other day. I did what you said. I kind of changed the way that I was doing things in my approach to folks on LinkedIn, and I have 3 or 4 great meetings set up." And so that was good to hear. And my response to her was, "That's fantastic." And one of the things that I had to learn from in this business was being coachable. And if you're coachable, you're going to be able to learn how to do this business.
Yeah, and actually, this is a business that is absolutely an equal opportunity business for everybody. There's a level playing field that anybody can be successful here. You don't need a degree. You don't need, a huge college education. Sorry. You don't need a huge college education. You just need to have the right attitude, and just need to have the right attitude, and you need to like Dan said, be coachable. And then there's a system which is proven system that we can follow. The other main thing is that when we start this, in most businesses, very few people actually clearly think out what they want. We come out of a college or wherever, if we have or we haven't, but we come out of college and then we look for a job, and we don't really analyze that particular ourselves. We look at the job and we analyze that, but we don't analyze who we are, what we want, what we aspire to, and what we aspired to when we were even younger and in our teens, when we had dreams and we had goals and we just wanted all sorts of things. And then when we get our preparation of life, which is our education, and we find a job, we go into that and we slot into that job. And we then maybe stay in there for 20 years, 30 years in that sector. But it doesn't necessarily mean that that is something we love to do. It just means that we found a job that paid well, that paid the bills, it afforded us a lifestyle, and we become content in that lifestyle of what eventually becomes a routine, and it becomes a habit, and that's where we are. But in this case, if we really think about it, and we start, even if we're my age, I mean, I started this business when I was 60. And you start and you look, what can I do? If money was no object, what would I do? And if somebody was 20 and he thought that, if money was no object, and if time was no pressing issue, what would I do? And then you think about that, and you think, well, wow, I'd like to have a group of friends and work with a group of friends. I'd like to create a team, whatever it is. But here's an opportunity which is absolutely equal opportunity for everybody, gender, race, age, and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's super important to have dreams, goals, objectives. And we have a lot of those things when we're younger, right? But as we get older, we start to kind of get entrenched in our jobs and our careers and our families, and we kind of forget about how important those are to us as an individual, but to the other people in our lives. And that kind of relates into being coachable as well. You need to have those hopes and dreams and goals and objectives, but there's going to be people along the way that are going to help you get there. And more than likely, they're going to be educating you, and you're going to be learning from them, and they're going to be teaching you. And, a lot of our lives are spent being taught. So, for most of us who go through grade school and then to college, the first, 22 years of our lives, we're being taught by somebody, taught, different subjects in school and kind of preparing us for our careers and what we're going to do later on in life. And for some people, it's even, it's 30 years, if they decide to go on to higher education, medical school, and things like that. And so, we kind of start to forget that it's important to be taught and continue to be learning. And that's no different in this business. And, we can learn from other people about what their dreams and goals and objectives are. And when I was young and I was getting out of college, I had some financial objectives, but the financial objectives weren't necessarily for things that I could buy. It was for the life that could give me and the peace of mind and those things. And so I had goals for, what I wanted to be making salary or commission wise when I was 25, when I was 30, when I was 35, when I was 40. And I was lucky enough, through hard work to reach all of those goals and get to a point where I was, pretty financially secure in my early 40s, mid 40s. But it wasn't for what those things could buy me. It was for the lifestyle that I could live. And, ultimately that's going to help me, living that lifestyle of not a 9-to-5 job, which is where I'm at now. It would help me reach those objectives and goals and dreams, because I had more time to pursue those things. And that's what this job is about for me. It's about giving me the time and the lifestyle that allows me to kind of focus more on those hopes and dreams and objectives. And, when I got into this business, I basically had the mindset that I was starting over from square one financially. Like, I'm going to pretend that I don't have anything from the previous job. I'm just going to start over from square one, and I'm going to take this as high as I can get, and be as successful as I can in this business. And that's a new goal and objective for me. I'm not looking back. I'm only looking forward. I'm looking to the future, staying in the present. And so I think those things are all important with developing those dreams and goals and objectives.
Yeah, and when with the dreams and the goals and the objectives, think about this: if you were in a job, just over broke, you decide you want to move home. You need, for whatever reason, you want a bigger house or whatever. By working harder in a job, you're not necessarily going to advance financially. Whereas in our case, there is an unlimited advancement in finance and in satisfaction. It's just a question of the mindset of the business, of the work ethic we have. So, if you say, well, I want to get a new car, and I'm really going to step it up, then think about how many extra scanners you can place, how many more people you can get into your team, how many more people you can help to achieve their goals so you achieve your goal. It's basically that. It's a question of that. It's a question of being able to inspire people. That's what we talk about every Friday. Every Friday we talk about mindset, and it's about inspiring other people to see what you see and to do what you do in a way it's beneficial for them, which will ultimately benefit you. And it's being by creating teams of people, by sharing our opportunities, by inspiring everybody. And this is really the way to go forward. And there's no limitation to what you can make. So, you might want to think, well, I want to put my kids through college. And instead of having to budget very tightly on what you have and skimp here and try there and save there to put your kids through college, here you can just work harder and abbreviate that time of having to work to put the money aside for that particular purpose.
Yeah, if you look at multi-level marketing or network marketing, it's network marketing. It says right in the name what you need to do to be successful in this business. You need to work, right? This is a job. It's a job. But with this job just over broke, you have the ability to make as much money as you want based on how hard you work, right? And one of the main differences that I've seen in my life over those who fail versus those who succeed is the level of work that they put in to whatever they're doing, right? And one of those things in this business, particularly that I've noticed, and I was very bad at this in the beginning, was plugging into the calls. It's very, very important to get plugged into these calls because you're going to learn something on every single call. And the more plugged in you are, the more you're going to know about this business, the harder you're going to work because you're going to understand it better. You're going to be able to talk about it better. You're going to be able to introduce this business to people easier, more intelligently. And, you know, if you look at this business, it's probably produced more millionaires than any other industry. If you look at the statistics, and, you know, each of these people built their businesses with different companies and using different methods. They all did one thing. They all worked, and they worked hard. And the people that work hard are the people that are going to win in this business. So you need to set aside some time. You know, if you have a full-time job, you need to commit to how many hours a week am I going to involve myself in this business? And you need to stick to that, and you need to be consistent, and you need to be consistently persistent, right? You need to have that consistency and be consistent, but you also need to be persistent in what you're doing and the goals, dreams, and objectives you've set for yourself.
So, you know, the key word is that 4-letter word, work. And in life, I think whether if we approach that 4-letter word as a dreaded, I have to go to work on Monday, as opposed to, I'm so excited about going to work on Monday. It's an attitude of an approach to what we want and how we want it, but it's how we visualize the word work. For me, I do not work. I really, really do not work. I love having objections. For me, that's what I look for. I love it because that's something that challenges my brain. It challenges my mind. It makes it exciting. So work that for us is prospecting, presenting, follow-up, registering new associates, training and support. And it's an open menu. It's not something that is a rigid textbook verbiage of anything. It allows our mind to our fertile mind to actually grow, expand, and have it as an exciting thing. It's not something I have to do, go to work. Actually, I kind of dread weekends. I really do. Because, now I got to kind of like slow down. I don't like to do that.
Lawrence, can I say something?
Go ahead.
This is Casey Seymour, sorry. Coming from a long background in sales, what I like about this type of business is the person you report to is the person you see in the mirror when you wake up. So you're working for yourself. You're doing it for yourself. You're going to have to work one way or another to produce an income for yourself. It's just if you're going to do it, you know, get up, get moving, and do it for yourself rather than having someone being told to do, you know, you do the work that you're being told to do.
Absolutely. And, you know, ultimately, you know, you're going to be a leader in this business and you're going to have a team and they're going to look up to you. But ultimately, we're all responsible for ourselves and our own success. And, you know, our own success can be a result of our limiting beliefs. And our limiting beliefs can be more powerful than our positive beliefs. So we need to change whatever our limiting beliefs are to having those be more positive and functional in our daily work ethic, in our daily lives. And so that's a great point. I was actually going to bring that up, Casey, that we are responsible ultimately only to ourselves. And if we want to be successful in this business, we need to take a good hard look at ourselves and what our limiting beliefs are and what our work ethic is. And you know how we're going to be successful. And if you've been successful in a different space of business, you need to look at what you did to be successful there, and kind of translate those to what you're doing now, because whatever you did to be successful in that is going to carry over in whatever you do in life.
You know, I've always said that we should be the first employee of our own company. And if you think about that, would you employ yourself? Would you be proud of the work you've done every day? Or would you fire yourself? So, you know, if we constantly are aware of our own achievements or lack of any particular day or week, and we stay on that awareness, we can progress constantly. But we've got to be introspective all the time. We've got to think about it and say, well, how did I do today? Oh, today was a disaster. I slacked off and I didn't do this and I didn't do that. And oh, what a disaster. Okay. So what are you going to do about it? You know, you're 1 minute away from being fired by yourself. So get on the stick and get on with it and start, wake up. So, you know, it's also about being persistent and consistent in the positive things that we're doing. And if we are doing that, then it becomes a habit. By being consistent and persistent and positive, it becomes a habit. Same as the woe is me people. It becomes a habit with oh my gosh, the world is coming to an end. Oh my God. They live in that field, and then it becomes a routine for them, and it's a habit. So we don't want to get into any of that. We've got that unlimited possibility every time, every morning we get out of bed. There's 7 billion people in the world, and right now many of them are hurting, and it's an opportunity for us to absolutely knock it out the park every single day.
I would say that most people, network marketers in particular that I'm talking about, and probably in most things in life, most people give up too early, right? They expect to make a certain amount of money. They expect to have this level of success. And when they don't, they quit, right? They don't persist. They forget about what their goals and their dreams are, and they stop chasing them because it was hard, or it was work, or it was hard work. It takes time to build a business in this particular industry. You're going to have to contact a lot of people. You're going to have to give a lot of presentations. You're probably going to have to endure a lot of rejection. But you have to have thick skin, and you have to keep your eye on the prize, which is your goals, your objectives, where you want to be in life, and just persist and be consistently persistent. So it's that person that's able to do that that's going to succeed. One of the things, one of the things that I've seen, and I've seen that in this business, is that people give up too early, right? They hear about it, particularly medical device salespeople. They hear about this and they're like, oh man, I can make money, the doctor can make money. Oh, this is a no-brainer. This is going to be easy. And then they make their first couple sales calls and they realize, you know what, not every doctor is going to say yes. Not every physician is going to say yes, even their closest customers. And so, that's when they start having these limiting beliefs and these doubts about whether or not this is a business that's right for them, because they're used to selling metal and plastic or pharmaceuticals, to their physicians. And that's a, pretty consistent form of income for them. But when the going gets tough, it's the old adage that tough get going, right? And in this case, they just give up. They give up, and they forget why they thought this was a great business idea in the first place. And a lot of the folks that I brought into the business are doing a full-time job as well, and so they just haven't set aside the time. And those folks are people that don't have conversations with me. They don't show up for team calls. They don't show up for these weekly calls at 9:30. They just don't spend the time to learn enough about the business to be able to talk intelligently about it and educate our most important customers, that are our physicians, that we're trying to target with this. So, if I was going to give advice to anybody, I've been in this business for 2 years, and those are the things that I've seen. My advice would be engaged, be consistent, be persistent, get on as many of these calls as you can. There's something of value in every single one. I have yet to be on a call that I didn't find something of value in one of those calls. But when I was in medical device sales, I can honestly say there might have been in 25 years, 1 or 2 meetings that I went to, or 1 or 2 calls that actually brought anything of value to me. And Casey, you're smiling, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You get on a call expecting something great, and basically all the person does, it's a product manager that reads the surgical technique to you. And you're like, why am I wasting 45 minutes of my life doing this? I can read the surgical technique myself, right? And so we're not coming in here every day that we do these calls, Lawrence and I, or on our team calls. Sure, we have an idea of what we're going to talk about, and we don't talk about the same thing every week. And I think that's important because we're consistently bringing something of value that's different every single week to our team calls and these Friday calls. And that's why it's important, as you're getting involved in this business and you're starting to bring other folks into this business, you need to be adamant that they get on these calls. If they can't get on for the live calls, get on these calls or listen to these recorded calls on the Facebook page. It's really important.
85% of all businesses fail. Dan, I 100% agree with you, by the way. 85% of all businesses, regardless of what type of business it is, fail in the first 5 years. Excuse me. In the first 5 years, 85%. This is no different. So, I've heard many times that somebody says, I've done network marketing. This is my 3rd network marketing company. And I say, okay, how did it go? Or my aunt has been doing it or whatever. So how did it go? No, this doesn't work. It's not for me. Well, are those companies still around? Yes. Well, if those companies are still around and thriving, it's not the company that's a problem, it's you. And you've got to reassess your own work ethic and what did you do that wasn't within the grasp of being successful. Because if those companies are still around and they are network marketing companies and some of them are on the stock market and they've been around for 20, 30 years and you were not successful in them, maybe you need to look at how you are operating in that. So I think we've got something that is absolutely amazing. This company gives me anyway, the feeling of walking 10 feet tall when we compare ourselves with any other company out there. We've got something for, 300 and some products. We've got 75 scientists, one of the top 100 most trustworthy companies in the US. These are things that make me feel very, very confident in what we have. And everybody needs and wants something that we've got, which makes a perspective of what we have is different. We're not trying to sell something. We're just trying to show them so that they buy it, so that they engage. So Dan, I don't know, we're at 10. Is it maybe open up for if anybody got any questions?
Let's open up for questions and comments for a few minutes.
Yeah.
There's lots of good comments in the chat.
Well, I'm glad that Lawrence brought up that last point because, as you think about it, everybody that's on this call needs to really think hard about this. And that is that we have seen, numbers of people over the years who quit, right? And so who's right? Who's right? Are they right or were we right? Did you see some of them go off and make millions of dollars? And then you look at what we have now. Say I signed someone up 4 years ago. Our products are better than they were 4 years ago. Our company is stronger than it was 4 years ago. We have more people succeeding at this business than we did 4 years ago. So then who's right? I think I'm right.
And also just another quick thing on that. Science, technology, innovation, the passport to the future. We have that. We've got the passport to the future, science, technology, innovation. And the window to the future is preventive medicine. We have that. Where are the cobwebs in one's mind that inhibit us from going absolutely, I don't want to use the expression, but groups, you know, wow, forwards.
That's our limiting beliefs, right? You know, our limiting beliefs in ourselves. You know, we have everything at our disposal that we need to be successful in this business. And, you know, if you got into this business thinking that it wasn't going to be work, then this, you know, this probably isn't the business for you. But if you're willing to do the work and utilize the tools that we have available, and, you know, introduce this to as many folks as you can, you're going to be successful, right? That's really all it takes. It's not, this isn't hard work. It's just work. You know, I've done a lot of other jobs that were a lot harder than this. This doesn't even, like, to Lawrence's point, this doesn't seem like work to me. It's not that difficult to talk to people every day, educate people. And that's what we're doing. We're just educating them. We're not necessarily selling them something. We're introducing them to something, and we're educating them on what we have. And it's not going to be for everybody, but if they're willing to listen and be objective and look at what we have and look at everything that we have to prove the science and the technology, you know, I think they're going to see what we see.
Can I make a comment about the meeting? These telephone and Zoom meetings, I think, are really critical. I think there's a real need and desire among people to be part of a tribe, to belong. And these events or these calls are our campfire. And unless we gather around that campfire, over the course of time, the social glue that holds us together will dissolve. And we'll wander off into the dark and the wild beasts will get us, so to speak. I think it's really critical to stay within this campfire group, because you get nourishment there, mental nourishment, you get uplifting thoughts, motivations, and so on. I think these are enormously valuable.
Martin, you've said that you've just given me a pearl of wisdom. Social glue.
Yeah.
That is so cool. That's very profound. That's social glue. What is the social glue? Our social glue includes the whole wheel of life, the financial part, the emotional part, the spiritual part. It's all part of this team that we have, team of Nu Skin team worldwide. It's just, you're right. So cool. I like that. Social glue. Just got something. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, it's interesting because you, or I, speaking for myself, I've developed great affection and respect for the people on these calls. These are remarkable people. They're people who share the kind of mindset and that common mindset, that common goal is, you know, albeit with different shades, I think is really key.
Actually, I wanted to mention something because, and I just ran out of time, but here's something that I just really think is important and I'd like to mention. So there's a dentist who wants to return his scanner. So one of the people in my team said, look, call so-and-so because he's a dentist, he wants to return his scanner. So I called him. And I said, hey, doc, you don't know me, but anyway, I understand you have a scanner. He says, yeah. He says, my staff are just not into it. So I thought, So here's a good analysis, in my opinion, for me, for that guy. First of all, a dentist or a doctor or a professional or a healthcare professional maybe follows a vocation without understanding the business side of it. Because a lot of people generally are enamored with a vocation, with something they want to do and help people and so on, or fix their teeth or whatever. But they've never really had a business course. They don't know how to handle people. They don't know how to manage people. So there, the tail is wagging the dog. the staff are not engaged with the scanner because they probably weren't trained properly, and because the doctor doesn't have he doesn't feel like he can be a boss. A boss is not somebody with a big stick. A boss is a guide. But this dentist, you know, he's like put his tail between his legs and he said, well, the staff don't want to do this. Bloody nonsense. Let's show you how you can make this, incentivize the staff, how you can make the staff enthusiastic to do this, and it'll help you so that it's a win-win for everybody. So I'm just trying to say that this is where it becomes exciting, where we're not just doing one thing and trying to place a scanner with someone. We're actually helping those people prosper in their business. By prospering, it helps, by them prospering helps us.
That is a very valid and valuable point. What I think many physicians fail to realize until later in life is that they have two things. They have the ability to help and heal people, but they have a business. And every time they walk up to their front door first thing in the morning, they turn the key, they are opening up a business which has overhead, which has staff, which has all of the assets and liabilities and problems and joys of owning a business. And what we are helping them do is enhance that business in a way that also happens to help them with their patients. And those are really the two key points. Those are the high points of everything they need to be doing in their professional life, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Agreed. Yeah.
To your point, Martin, I think a lot of doctors, a lot of physicians, you know, because of the healthcare environment that we have and the, you know, declining reimbursements with health insurance and things like that, they do start to forget a little bit about how they can affect patients' lives because they're so concerned with how they're going to keep their business surviving, right? And one thing I love about this business is it gives that back to them, gives some of that back to them, because they're now able to focus a little bit more on their patients and help their patients become healthier. And money is a big motivator, and a lot of these physicians, you know, they see the money, and Lawrence and I joke about it all the time. Once they see the money, they automatically understand the science. But you know, ultimately they have to understand the science. If they're not willing to understand the science and what this can do for their patients, how it can help their patients, you know, they're probably not going to be successful with this in their practice. It needs to be, you know, they need to have both of those pieces for this to be successful. They have to be financially motivated, but they also have to be motivated to help their patients. And if they're not willing to put in the time to understand this technology and the quality of the nutraceuticals that we have and how we're able to affect real change in these patients, then I always have a concern that they're not maybe the right person for this program.
Yeah, Dan, I think this thing about what we have, again, it's if the healthcare professional can understand the quality of what we have and what's behind that quality, which is the science, the technology, and so on, the healthcare professional can be excited about offering something that is really going to help their patients and that will make a difference to their health with no side effects. Because when the physician recommends a product which is prescribed, there may well be some terrible side effects on that thing, and that's what happens. In our case, we can offer a product that is science-based evidence that we can test, measure, prove, and guarantee a result. I mean, how exciting is that? Who can do that? So if the healthcare professional can understand that he has this or she has this possibility with these products that's going to really make a difference to their patient, can strengthen their gums if they, the implants will succeed better, or whatever the problem, whatever the issue. That's exciting. And that's what we've got to inspire the physician and the healthcare professional to understand that it's not just a supplement, it's an amazing supplement.
It's interesting to talk about what is in this for the physician, because I remember listening to a doctor, Lawrence, that you and I both know well, from West Palm Beach, who basically said, look, I was on the usual regular treadmill of many patients a day. But after we had brought in the Pharmanex nutritional program and the scanner, it enabled me to enhance my income to a point where I can now be a better doctor by seeing fewer people and devoting the time to them that they really need and deserve. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge, but a lot of these healthcare practitioners are on the hamster wheel, you know, and it's been, you know, that's been caused by health insurance. Health insurance, you know, declining reimbursements every year means they have to see more patients. They have to pump more patients through the front door and out the back door. You know, this is a way, if they look at it and change their mindset, you know, this is a mindset shift for them.
Yes.
You know, how do I make more money with the same amount of patients and seeing the same amount of patients or less patients? That's what they should be looking at. They shouldn't, you know, my brother's an orthopedic surgeon. When I ask him, or when I talk to him about finances, he says, I need to make more money. And it's like, okay, well, how are you going to do that? I'm going to see more patients and I'm going to do more surgery. You know, that's the mindset. And I think that's been created by, you know, it's a byproduct of declining reimbursements from the health insurance companies. You know, that's all they know. That's, you know, they went to, you know, 12 years of extra school to learn how to be physicians. And they don't really think outside that box of how they can be entrepreneurs rather than just be on that hamster wheel.
That's not their training.
Exactly. It starts from day one in medical school, right?
Yeah.
You work 80 or 100 hours as a resident or an intern. You work 80 or 100 hours a week. And that's the mindset that you have. The more I work, the harder I work, the better I'm going to be, the more successful I'm going to be, the more money I'm going to make. So it's just grind it out, work as many hours as you can. And a lot, I've met a lot of doctors who pride themselves on saying, I work 16 hours a day, every day of the week, you know, and it's, you know, it's a little sad.
I even knew one cardiologist who started a plastics practice in his, you know, in an adjoining room and ended up working so many hours. He actually set up a bed in his office and he only went home at weekends. Well, that's exactly the guy whose knife I'd like to be under. Yeah, I mean, narcolepsy during surgery, that's probably not a good plan.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we also kind of overlook is time, what you do with time. And, you know, right now we've got this pandemic, if we call it, and it's given us the opportunity to introspect and to think. I joked about this because my wife always says to me, what are you doing? And I say, I'm gathering my thoughts. And she says, well, you know, you're always gathering these thoughts. Are you ever going to gather them all? No, because the mind is fertile and it's always thinking. And, you know, Steve Jobs' mom one day, she apparently said, Steve, lunch is ready. And he said, no, I can't come. She said, what are you doing? I'm gathering my thoughts. And she was saying, well, are you crazy? Lunch is ready. Yeah, I'm gathering. So what I'm saying is that the time is essential if we use it right. Dan Burke said at the beginning of this pandemic, he said, don't waste this crisis. Don't waste this crisis. You know, use it wisely because we have the time, and the time is something that allows us to expand our thoughts and to be better at what we do. And there's always something new to what we do. There's always something to expand on. There's always something that we can help in helping the others to be more successful. And that's with everybody. So, wow, we've got a lot of comments here. Gastroenterologist. extremely proud. 16-hour days. Yeah, 16-hour days, you're going to burn out, man. Eventually, you don't have a family life, your kids, there's dysfunctional. The more you work, the longer hours you work, the longer hours you work, the more you distance from the rest of your family and from their priorities, from their interests, from what they like to do. And that is where we get dysfunctional families, we get divorces, we get drug addiction, we get all kinds of other ramifications that come from somebody who is hiding behind his work, because sometimes that's all they know how to do. And they become workaholics because that's all they know how to do. They've never actually spent any time to expand some of the passions that they may have. They don't even know they have those passions. And that is another problem, where we hide behind work. If we're working too hard, well, why? Do you need the money? I mean, the people that are making more than they need, but they still work hard, over hard. Why? Because it's an excuse. They don't want to get into something that they don't know, which may be a passion that they haven't discovered. So there's so many moving parts to the human person, to the human mind.
We need to help them move from dysfunctional medicine to functional medicine.
That's right. That's exactly right.
This is also a very true observation of mine in my field of pharmacy also, because in retail pharmacy, it's been my experience for a real long time that the one consistent thing that individual pharmacists take the most pride in is how many prescriptions they fill in a day. And whether you work for a large company or a small company, the pharmacists that work in the real busy stores are seen as like, they're the cream of the crop. And if you happen to work in a slow volume store, you're seen as, well, you don't really know anything. And like Dr. Worrell said earlier in the week, that he went to IIN, became a health coach, and I did too. I started getting involved in health coaching over 25 years ago. And having one foot solidly in the world of pharmacy and the other foot solidly in work and health coaching, I noticed that I've seen people that have no formal training, no experience in what you would call healthcare, make a greater impact on people's health than the healthcare professionals with all their PharmD degrees and all their medical degrees and all their specialties. Because the practice of pharmacy and medical, it blocks you from interacting from people and actually helping people with what it is that they need to fix in their lives. So when I talk to pharmacists, pharmacists are really, really unhappy, just like you're talking about doctors need to make more money. Pharmacists need to find a job that they can feel like they can survive the day, because pharmacy's become an unbearable job right now. And it's because it's all owned by corporate America. There's very little independent pharmacies. And Kent Nelson got me to join in on this because we both see the destruction of independent pharmacy. And independent pharmacy is really, it is it's the environment where functional medicine can grow and can really take root. So when I talk to pharmacists that I know they're unhappy in their job, I say to them, so, when you're filling lots of prescriptions, you're having a very small impact on a whole big group of people, because you don't have any time to interact with anybody. And so I say to them, so when you say you're unhappy, you're not getting to use what you learned in school. I said, well, wouldn't you rather have a larger impact on a small number of people? So in other words, if you could get more involved and more in depth with people and actually help them solve problems, help them, solve medication problems, help them solve lifestyle problems. So that usually gets a lot of pharmacists' attention. We'd rather get more involved with helping people they're starting to see that filling more prescriptions isn't necessarily satisfactory to them anymore.
I think if you do something that is monotonous, routine, that is mechanically, monotonously routine, your mind your mind declines. And I think this is something that we need to be doing, something that inspires and that we love to do, because we constantly are allowing the mind to flourish. If we're doing something like routine, monotonous, just mechanical, the mind is not doing anything. You're just in automatic drive, and it's just, what time is it? Oh, it's lunchtime. Oh, what time is it? Oh, I've only got 15 minutes to the end of the day. And that is where you wish your life away. When you're looking towards 5 o'clock, when you're looking towards Friday, you're wishing your life away. Whereas if you're constantly looking at something that is expandable in what you're doing, something that's fertile, then it's in constant motion, and there's nothing to stop you from thinking about, oh, I never thought of that. Let me try this as well. Let me do this as well. Let me add this to that. And it's just so much different when you've got the unlimited possibilities that we have, because we're dealing with people, because we've got, everybody's different. Everybody's got a different mentality, different personality, different way of thinking, different cultural groups. And this makes it exciting too, because we've got something that everybody needs and wants: wellness, health, and in many cases also they want the beauty side or the health on the outside. So I'm so bloody excited every morning. That's why I do this. I don't do this for the money anymore. I do this because it is so exciting. It gets me out of bed and makes me feel useful. Makes me feel I can still make a difference. That's what it's about. All right. So sorry about that. I get all excited. All right. Well, if anybody's got anything else, otherwise we could wrap it up, I guess. If anybody's got any comments, please go ahead. We're happy to be here. This is what we do. This is why we're here. So
I think one comment I would make is,
Lawrence, I just wanted.
Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to go ahead?
yeah.
I just wanted to go back to that dental office, that you were talking about. I think it's really important for the doctors to realize how they can utilize that those $8 bonuses that they get from the rescans and the initial scans, because you give some of that back to your staff, then it's they have ownership in it, and then you're working as a team, and that can make a massive difference. And I just want to give an example about that. I was talking to an eye doctor during COVID, and he was really excited about the scanner. He came on our presentation, and he said his staff has to buy into it. And what he did was he was having some of the supplement companies to come in, the eye supplement companies, to present to his staff. And I thought, wait a minute, if I just let him reiterate what he learned, it's not going to come across to his staff. So I said, well, how about I present to your staff? And I said, and I cleared it with him that I could talk about the bonuses. So then what I did was I just condensed our presentation, took out the money part, and put in a bit about the supplements, and the presentation was really well received. And I think I'm going to be getting a scanner out of that. So it's just important so that they know that these are ways that they can invest in the staff.
I think that's super important. Yeah. And the reason for that is that, not every time, but a lot of times the biggest objection is that their staff needs to get on board, or their staff's not interested. So you need to get buy-in from the staff. And, obviously one of the ways you can do that is by incentivizing them. And so, I think that's really important, but it also needs to come from the doc, how important this is for their patients, and the importance of doing this in the practice. And I honestly think that, implementing this program into a physician practice helps build a stronger patient-physician relationship, because they're not just seeing them for their eyes or their teeth, or, you know, they're looking at the patient as a whole person and treating them holistically, which I think is what a lot of patients want right now. You know, they don't want traditional pharmaceutical-based healthcare. They want physicians to look at them as a whole person and provide solutions to their health and their health risks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that's what it's a whole picture thing. It's a holistic thing. With WHOLE, whole thing, holistic. Good. Danny, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thanks, everybody.
As always, thanks, Martin. Thanks, Casey. Thanks, everybody. Deborah, for your inputs, and Jim, thanks for being here. And we look forward to seeing you on Monday morning at for the Scott Bennett call, and on Wednesday with Kent and Muncie, and of course Friday. Look forward to seeing you as well. It's the end of the month. You guys knock it out the park, and have a good weekend as well. Blessings to everybody. Thank you.
Thank